My son-in-law called me a nobody, said I was nothing but a washed-up handyman living in the past. Then his landlord walked into the restaurant, saw me sitting there, and the color drained from his face completely. But that moment was just the beginning of everything Marcus thought he knew falling apart. Before we continue, please subscribe to Twisted Vengeance and tell us in the comments what city you're watching from. The text from my daughter came at 7:15 on a Saturday morning. Dad, can you come fix Marcus's bathroom sink? It's been dripping for 2 weeks. He keeps saying he'll call someone. I stared at the message, typed a response, deleted it, typed again, I'll be there at 9. The drive from my studio apartment in Burnaby to their condo in downtown Vancouver took 40 minutes. Rain streaked the windows of my Toyota Tacoma, 20 years old but running perfectly. I kept it maintained myself, always had. Their building was new construction, glass and steel, 32 stories, the kind of place that screamed money, or at least the appearance of it. I parked in visitor parking, grabbed my toolbox from the truck bed, took the elevator to the 18th floor. Marcus answered the door, still in pajama pants at 9 a.m., coffee mug in hand. He looked at my toolbox, then at my worn work jacket. George, right, the sink. He stepped aside without greeting. Sarah's out with the baby, doctor's appointment. I followed him inside. The condo was modern, minimalist, everything sharp angles and neutral tones. A baby swing sat in the corner, out of place among the designer furniture. Photos of Sarah and Marcus covered one wall. Their wedding, vacation in Mexico, professional maternity photos. Not a single picture of me. The bathroom was down the hall. Marcus leaned against the doorframe while I worked, scrolling his phone. The faucet was a simple fix. Worn washer. 5-minute job. Must be nice, Marcus said, having all this free time now that you're retired. I kept my focus on the wrench. It has its moments. Sarah mentioned you worked maintenance at that high school for what, 30 years? 32. He sipped his coffee. I guess somebody has to do those jobs. I tightened the valve carefully, testing. The drip stopped. All finished. Marcus glanced up from his phone. Already? That was quick. It wasn't complicated. Right. Well, thanks for coming. I would have handled it eventually, but you know how Sarah worries. He walked back toward the living room, expected me to follow. I packed my tools slowly, methodically. Through the doorway, I could hear Marcus on a phone call. Yeah, just Sarah's dad. Fixing something. No, just a handyman. Worked at a school or whatever. Anyway, about that property in Kitsilano. Just a handyman. I closed my toolbox, walked to the living room. Marcus was still on his phone, back turned. I'll see myself out. He waved without turning around. The drive home felt longer. At a red light, I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app. The balance loaded. $47 million. I'd founded Martinez Property Development in 1987. Started with one duplex renovation. Grew it systematically. By 2019, we'd developed 18 residential projects across Metro Vancouver. Sold the company 3 years ago to a national firm. All cash. Marcus knew I'd worked at a high school. That part was true. I'd taken the maintenance position after selling the company, needing something to do with my hands. Somewhere to go that wasn't an empty house after Linda died. He assumed that was my career, my whole story. I'd never corrected him. That evening, Sarah called. Dad, thank you so much for fixing the sink. You're a lifesaver. It was nothing, sweetheart. Marcus said you were in and out super fast. I swear he's useless with anything practical. I could hear the baby crying in the background. Sarah's voice had that stretched thin quality. Exhausted. How are you doing? I asked. Fine, good. Just tired. Lily's not sleeping well. She paused. Dad, I wanted to ask. Could you maybe help us out? Just a little. My chest tightened. What do you need? It's stupid. We're fine, really. But the condo fees went up, and Marcus's commission structure changed at work, and daycare costs are insane. I just thought, maybe if you had anything extra. How much? I don't know, 500, 1,000, I hate asking. Marcus's voice in the background sharp. Sarah, we don't need charity. It's not charity, she said, quieter now. It's my dad. We're fine, Marcus said, louder now, closer to the phone. We don't need handouts from your father's pension. The line went silent for a moment. Dad, I should go, Sarah whispered, love you. The call ended. I sat in the darkness of my apartment. One bedroom, simple furniture, Everything I needed. The money sat in investments, growing quietly. I'd planned to leave it all to Sarah eventually. Set up a trust for Lily, but watching Marcus treat my daughter like this, hearing the exhaustion in her voice while he worried about his pride, that needed to change. I spent Sunday researching. Marcus worked at Westbridge Realty Commercial Division. I found his LinkedIn, his recent posts. Lots of humble bragging about deals, lots of photos at networking events. One post caught my attention. Exciting news. Representing the buyer on a major mixed-use development in Yaletown. This is what we work for. Huge thank you to property owner Richard Chen for trusting us with this opportunity. Richard Chen. I knew Richard. We'd worked on 2 projects together in the 90s. He'd been a junior developer then, smart, ambitious. We'd stayed in occasional contact over the years. I pulled up his number, hesitated, then called. George Martinez, Richard answered, warm recognition in his voice. It's been what, 2 years? Something like that. How are you, Richard? Can't complain, still building. You still enjoying retirement? It has its moments. I paused. Actually, I'm calling about a business matter. You're working with Westbridge Realty on a Yaletown project? Yeah, Marcus Patterson's my agent. You know him? He's my son-in-law. No kidding. Small world. He's been solid so far. Eager. Maybe a bit too concerned with image, but he knows the market. Listen, Richard, I have a proposition. Can we meet for coffee? We met Tuesday morning at a cafe near Richard's office. He arrived in a tailored suit, silver at the temples, successful and comfortable with it. George, you look good. Retirement suits you. You too. Business is good? Very. So what's this about? He leaned forward, curious. I explained carefully. Not everything. Just enough. Marcus's treatment of Sarah, his assumption about my finances, the dismissive comments, the refusal to let me help my daughter. Richard listened, expression neutral. Here's what I'm thinking, I said. Your Yaletown project. What if you had a co-investor, someone who could bring substantial capital, make the deal more attractive to all parties? How substantial? 10 million. Richard's eyebrows rose. That's serious money. I'm a serious person. He studied me for a long moment. You want in on the project. I want to be at the table when you finalize terms. I want Marcus to see exactly who he's been calling nobody. That's petty, George. Maybe. But my daughter's struggling while he spends his energy protecting his ego. Sometimes a man needs perspective. Richard sat back, smiled slowly. When can you have the funds ready? The meeting was scheduled for Friday afternoon. Richard's office, conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking False Creek. I arrived 20 minutes early. Wore a suit I hadn't touched in 3 years. Still fit perfectly. Richard greeted me at reception. Marcus doesn't know you're coming. I told him we're meeting with a potential investor. Perfect. The conference room was empty. We took seats, spread out some documents. At exactly 3 p.m., Marcus arrived. He walked in confident, suit sharp, smile ready. Saw Richard, started his greeting, then his eyes landed on me. The smile froze. George! His voice cracked slightly. What are you doing here? Mr. Martinez is our new co-investor, Richard said smoothly. He's coming in with significant capital. 10 million initial commitment. Marcus looked between us. Mr. Martinez, this is Sarah's dad. He's a maintenance worker. Was, I corrected quietly. I retired from that position last year. I don't understand. Richard pulled out a folder. George founded Martinez Property Development in 1987, sold it in 2021 for considerable return. He's one of the most successful developers in Vancouver's history. I thought you knew that, given he's family. The color had completely drained from Marcus's face. That's impossible, he whispered. I opened my briefcase, pulled out a portfolio, slid it across the table. My current holdings, properties I've kept, investment summaries, banking authorization for the 10 million transfer. Marcus stared at the documents like they were written in a foreign language. You let me think. His voice trailed off. I didn't let you think anything, I said calmly. You made assumptions about my apartment, my truck, my work. You decided who I was without asking. Sarah never said anything. Sarah doesn't know. She knows I sold my company. She doesn't know the numbers. I've been living quietly, modestly, by choice. Richard cleared his throat. Shall we discuss the terms? The meeting lasted 90 minutes. Marcus barely spoke. When he did contribute, his voice was hollow, uncertain. The confidence had evaporated. I asked detailed questions about zoning, construction timelines, projected returns. The kind of questions someone asks when they've done this 100 times before. Because I had. When we finished, Richard walked Marcus to the elevator. I stayed behind gathering my materials. Richard returned alone. That was brutal. That was necessary. He's going to go home and tell Sarah everything. Good, she should know. Sarah called at 7 that evening. I was making dinner. Simple pasta. I answered on the second ring. Dad? Her voice shook. Marcus just told me something insane. He says you're investing $10 million in his project. He says you founded a development company. He says you're worth millions. 47 million, I said quietly, after taxes and charitable contributions. Silence. Dad, what the hell? Language, sweetheart. Don't do that. Why didn't you tell me? I turned off the stove, sat down at my small kitchen table. Because money changes things, changes how people see you, how they treat you. I wanted to know who Marcus really was, what he really thought of family. By lying? I never lied, I just didn't correct his assumptions. That's the same thing. Is it? I kept my voice level. Sarah, you called me last week asking for help. $1,000. You were embarrassed. Marcus refused, said he wouldn't accept handouts from my pension. Meanwhile, you're struggling with bills, and he's worried about appearance. That's not fair. Isn't it? Sweetheart, I've watched you become smaller around him, quieter. You used to argue with me about everything, challenge ideas, push back. Now you apologize for asking your own father for help. I heard her breathing, unsteady. I saw the photos in your condo, I continued. Beautiful pictures. Your wedding, your trips, your maternity shoot. But nothing of us, nothing of your mother, nothing of your childhood. Like that life doesn't count anymore. Marcus said those were old memories. He wanted our space to reflect our new life together. And what did you want? The question hung there. Finally, she spoke. I don't know anymore. That's the problem, sweetheart. You've forgotten who you are trying to be, who he needs you to be. What am I supposed to do with this information? My father's secretly rich, my husband's been treating him like trash, and I'm just supposed to what? Be okay with all of it? No, you're supposed to think about what you want. What kind of life you want for Lily. What kind of partner you deserve. This is too much. I know, take your time, but Sarah, whatever you need, truly need, I'm here. Not to control, not to fix everything, just to support you, always. She was quiet for a long moment. Can I come over, bring Lily? Of course. She arrived 40 minutes later, baby carrier in one hand, diaper bag in the other, eyes red from crying. I took Lily, still sleeping, while Sarah collapsed onto my couch. Your apartment is so small, she said, looking around. It's enough. You could live anywhere. Penthouse, mansion, waterfront estate. You're living like a broke college student. I'm living intentionally. After your mother died, I realized things don't matter much. People do. Experiences do. I don't need space I won't use or furniture I won't sit in. She wiped her eyes. Marcus is freaking out, completely spiraling. He can't believe he's been talking to you like that, treating you like you're nobody. I am nobody. I'm just someone who built things and got lucky with timing. That's not true, and you know it. She looked at me. Really looked. Tell me about the company, about what you built. So I did. Told her about the first duplex, the risks, the failures, the slow growth, the projects that worked and the ones that didn't, the lessons learned over 3 decades. She listened, asking questions, engaged in a way I hadn't seen in years. Lily woke up. I held her while Sarah made tea in my tiny kitchen. Dad, I need to figure things out with Marcus. I don't know what that looks like yet. That's fair. But I need to do it on my own, without your money hanging over everything. Understood. Can you promise me something? What? No more tests, no more secrets. If something matters, tell me directly. I nodded slowly. I promise. 3 weeks later, I sat in Richard's office again. This time, just the two of us. Marcus gave his notice, Richard said. He's taking a position with a smaller firm. Less prestige, better work-life balance. Says he needs to focus on his family. How'd he seem? Humbled. Genuinely. Apologized for his behavior during our first meeting. Asked if the opportunity was still available for him to work on the project in an advisory capacity. What did you say? I said yes. He's good at what he does when he's not performing. I smiled slightly. And Sarah? Richard asked. They're in counseling, working through things. She's setting boundaries. He's listening. We'll see. You still going forward with the investment? Of course. It's a good project. Strong returns. That was always real. Richard laughed. George Martinez, still building things, just different things now. That Sunday, Marcus knocked on my apartment door. Unexpected. He stood in the hallway, uncomfortable but determined. Can we talk? I stepped aside, let him in. He looked around the small space. The simple furniture, the single photograph on the wall, me and Linda on our wedding day, 1985. I owe you an apology, he said. A real one. Not because of the money, because of how I treated you. How I made Sarah feel about asking for help. How I judged you based on appearances. Thank you. I've spent the past month realizing how much I was performing. Trying to look successful instead of being successful. Trying to seem important instead of doing important things. He sat down on the couch, looked at his hands. Sarah told me you worked maintenance by choice, after building everything you built. I couldn't understand it at first, seemed insane. But then I thought about what makes me happy. Really happy. It's not the deals or the image. It's Saturday mornings with Lily, making Sarah laugh. Those small moments. Those are the moments that matter. I want to do better. Be better. For Sarah. For Lily. And I'd like, if you're open to it, to get to know you. Really know you. Not as the investor or the successful developer. As Sarah's father. As Lily's grandfather. I studied him. Saw something different than before. Something genuine. I'd like that too. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to Twisted Vengeance, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what city you're watching from. Thank you for watching.